WBBZ-TV committed to hometown television and hometown businesses. Paul Santora from Revive Western New York Restaurants. We're distanced, but we're distanced by beer cans. Right. Tell us about this project as we talk about Revive WNY Restaurants.
So we've teamed up with 4 local breweries: Hamburg Brewery, Resurgence, Community Beer Works, and 42 North. And Triad kind of took the lead in the packaging, but they each brewed a different beer for our 4-pack, and they're available everywhere. We started out with 600 cases, and I think there's 100 cases left in Triad's warehouse. So they were concerned about how much they were going to go through in supermarkets, and everybody was going to be a part of the program. But boy, oh boy, did they jump on board. It's fantastic.
So the proceeds from the sale of the beer go to help your cause that you've created, which in turn helps benefit restaurants that have had some financial difficulty in these last few months.
That's correct. You know, not only the profitability based on the individual case, but the awareness of the program. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for people to be aware of what we're doing, how we're helping. We're losing sight a little bit of that because restaurants are open, but they're still struggling and they're still having a hard time, and we're not giving up on our program. We knew we were going to get to this point, but you've got all of 2021 before people can even see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we want to help them.
So if a restaurant is out there, if you're an owner, if you're involved with a restaurant, Paul, tell us how you can become a part of the organization and get some help.
Yeah, I think it's really important to go to revivewnyrestaurants.org if you're a restaurant. And listen, just reach out to us. Let's have a chat. There's no strings attached. You get a week of advertising for free. We promote your restaurant for the entire week, free of charge on multiple media outlets. And then on top of that, there's a cash up to $3,000 at the end of the week to help you for your food, paper, and everything like that. So there are literally no strings attached. We're doing this. 100% of the proceeds go directly to the restaurants.
All right. Well, congratulations on the effort, and WBBZ proud to help. And the website again, revivewnyrestaurants.org.
One major event that we all looked forward to in February was the Buffalo Auto Show. The pandemic has put a hold on this gathering at the Buffalo NAG Convention Center, but that has not stopped NFADA President Paul Stasiak and his team from coming up with a new idea. He has announced that February is now Auto Month in Western New York. Welcome, Paul.
Thanks for having me on, Penny.
So we heard that the Buffalo Auto Show has been, quote unquote, postponed, right, due to present circumstances beyond all of our control. So instead, February is now Buffalo Auto Month. Tell us how you came up with that idea.
Well, it wasn't our first choice. As you know, you and I were talking off air. This has been an annual rite of passage for Western New York. So, you know, we understand the pandemic put a hold on a few things, and you're right. We are postponing it. We just didn't want to take the health risks and associate with it. So we're going to organize an auto month so the consumers that were accustomed to those great deals, they came out in February, the spring inventory, their lease turn-ins that would be coming due as a result of the last number of year auto shows. We'll still have an opportunity to take advantage of some things at our dealerships. And then we'll look towards June to potentially host another event that might be an indoor, outdoor, and a lot more experiential opportunities.
That's optimistic, but I think, you know, we're thinking June it might work. So tell us about the auto industry, how it's doing during the pandemic. Are dealers selling cars? Are people buying cars? Are people interested in automobiles now?
You know, ironically, Judge, the interesting thing was we had a serious halt like everybody else. March, April, May, June. But remember, there was a lot of pent-up demand. A lot of people were coming out of leases. A lot of people coming post-auto show last year. So our dealers were able to keep that, at least some business flow, some steady business flow throughout the summer and into the fall, till they ran out of inventory. So the demand from the consumers is still pretty regular. The problem was some availability. So the dealers, you know, transitioned to certified used. They bought off lease vehicles, so they were able to satisfy all of our customers' needs. Right now, we're back to business as usual.
I was thinking about that the supply issue would affect automobiles as well as so many other products, you know, that people couldn't get during the pandemic. So
well, we were very proud of our manufacturers.
Yeah.
Think about it. They transitioned from building trucks and cars to respirators and ventilators. So that had to come at an expense. So, you know, for that little hiccup was a huge return for the, you know, the world. But, you know, our dealers are now recovering good inventory, so hence Auto Month. We don't want the public to think we're out of inventory, there's no deals. We thought it was appropriate. Let's move forward and try to create a month where we can reach out to the public.
What are we saying now? Everybody's adjusting or turning or twisting, or I can't think of the phrase that everybody uses to try to make do. So people can check out the latest wheels and deals from manufacturers on BuffaloAutoShow.com. Tell us more about what the manufacturers and the exhibitors have to offer on the website.
Well, you know, obviously it's a work in process because the programs change. So what our various line groups and manufacturers are attempting to do is take some of the elements of the show. You can't replace an auto show. You can't get in the car. You can't smell it. You can't touch it. So they want to try to do an educational thing. Maybe educate them on the product, the lease turn-in numbers that are out there, some of the new technology on a vehicle. We don't want to do a virtual auto show. It's virtually impossible. But we're going to try to pivot. The word we use is pivot.
That's the word I was trying to think of before.
We're going to pivot from an auto show to an auto month, and hopefully from an auto month to a June event where we have a very much an experiential event in June. So we have to be fluid, and it's difficult times, but you know that fluency I think will pay off.
I'm sure you will. What about, there's on the home page you have certain themes. Yeah. I was just hearing about that.
Yeah, nobody wants to just look at cars, so we're going to try to break it down to energy zone, the electric avenue. There's a lot of questions about electric vehicles. So if they came to the show, they would have learned about it. So we're going to try to put those vehicles. Where do I get my charging stations? How do I get the incentives? Some of the answers that they might have been able to get at the auto show. You know, fun in the sun. We're going to try to list some of the convertibles of old and convertibles of new. You know, we're going to try to do built for speed or speed dating, we call it. You know, it's February, it's Valentine's. So try to put those cars that have some mock and some power, and then tough love, the trucks. And then we added a little bit of history of Western New York, you know, with the Trico plant and Kittinger building the fabric, and then, you know, the Pierce Herald being built here. So people don't know we have a rich history. So this was our chance to maybe put some non-automotive elements to the website. So, and it'll be a work in process throughout the month.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. And you know, when you mentioned that, Buffalo has such a long history in the automobile industry, and it's been so important to us here in Western New York. So that's a brilliant idea.
And we have a great present history. The engine plant, the stamping plant, the lockboard plant, those are all high-ranking, high-quality, high-productivity areas of employment. Not just that, but for General Motors and Ford.
Right, yeah, and talk about employment, that's really important. So every new car franchise dealer participating in Buffalo Auto Month of February are also members of the New Car Dealers of Western New York Charitable Foundation. We want to talk a little bit about the charities, that you support and how you choose them and all the support in the past.
Thank you. I mean, that's always a labor of love. That's what we do full time. The auto show is one window of time in February, but our dealers are very philanthropic. We formed the Charitable Foundation in 2000. We've donated over a couple $1 million already to various worthy causes. We try to do all local-centric charities, and you name it, from Wings of Hope to Kids Escaping Drugs, Kevin Guest House. You know, we did a lot of those groups. They can go on our website, apply any worthy, you know, charity. At this point, it's very difficult because they've lost a lot of revenue. These events like the auto show and our charity preview gala allowed us to raise that additional dollars. So when we lose a show, we lose the potential to raise more money, but we're not stopping. We're going to still see how this moves forward and try to recognize those charities that need our help. I'm very proud of what the dealers do. We all are as a group. I mean, you got 140 dealers that are very competitive, Judge, but when it comes down to charity, they're all in. They're all in together. They embrace them, and they work hard to try to benefit Western New York.
You know, when you and I were talking about the charitable event, the pre-opening charitable event at the convention center, which is always so much fun to see everybody. And as you said, they raise so much money, so it's going to be really hard to make up for it, I know.
And it's not just the money. You know, Western New York's about awareness. Some people don't know what charities need what and what charities do. So We'll get back. We'll be there. We'll pivot, and we're going to pivot strong.
Pivot now. How hard has it been this past year for the Niagara Frontier Auto Dealers Association? Have you all been together? Have you talked, or
Yeah.
have you met virtually?
Well, I'll say, I think everybody that's been touched by this pandemic will say one thing: communication has been key. I'm very proud to say at 140 members with almost 14,000 employees, our communication really amped up. With their manufacturers, amongst themselves. How do we comply with CDC standards? How do we keep our customers safe? How do we sanitize the cars before service, after service? People don't realize the amount of touch points that we had to address, and I'm very proud to say we had no cases in any of our dealerships that we believe that we've been aware of. So communication was big. I think buying in and the comfort level all came to fruition.
Yeah. We recently saw the announcement that General Motors is going to have most of their vehicles in the coming years being electric. So I think a lot of people were talking about it, and they even revealed a new logo. Is that, the trend in the industry, and how is that going to impact us here in Western New York at our plant?
Well, I mean, I can't speak for the engine plant, but I know in talking to some of the personnel there, they're still optimistic that our engine plant will be a viable production facility for many, many years. Once again, they'll pivot, they'll transition. The wave towards electric is on its movement now. That's why the auto show would have been an interesting educational opportunity. So we'll try to make Electric Avenue and our energy zone a little bit of our pre-education stage for the years to come. I think the engine plant will be fine.
That's a big question.
The leadership is outstanding there. The labor's incredible. Their productivity standards have been uncompromised. I don't see that as a deterrent at all for them being a viable, strong entity for GM.
They would have to switch over? I mean, equipment?
That's beyond my pay grade,
Yeah,
Judge. I would venture, yes, there'd be some
assume.
retooling, I would think. But I think they're still going to support those vehicles. And remember, people forget when a vehicle goes out, you still have to produce parts for that vehicle for a large number of years. You still have to produce replacement engines. You still have to produce components for that car for a series of years. So that's what the engine plant also does. At the same time they're building for new, they're building that repair part, that replacement part, that part that might fail in 10 or 11 years.
And thank you so much for all the work that you do in our hometown and all the charitable work that all of you in the dealers do. And hey, everybody, thank you for watching The Big Picture, and thanks for watching WBBZ-TV. We'll see you next time with more hometown topical talk.